application to a customer for completion. So previously, you would have sent out or provided that customer with a paper-based application. However, what would happen now is you would initiate it through this platform and the customer will receive a link to complete a digital application. If you have any questions during the session, please shout them out so that we can tackle them as we go along. So welcome to the Inoxico Fabric portal. This is the portal where we have configured your digital application. As a requesting user, you will have access to the Select Process tile. This is where you would kick off the application process, and the Action Centers where you'd be able to monitor and track to see where those applications are sitting. Okay, so in order to kick off an application, you would click on the View button, and the system will then open up the credit application workflow. Okay, this is the workflow that you'd use in order to initiate the process to send the customer an application. You as a requesting user will click on the Start button, and the system will take you to a search page where you would search for that company that needs to receive that application. Now, in the search page, you can search for either a company or you can search for a sole proprietor. To search for a sole proprietor, you would click on person and search with the ID number. If it is a business, you'd click on company and then you would search with either using the company name, the registration number, or you can use the VAT number. Now, the reason why you would search for a company is because at Inoxico, we are plugged into SIPC, so all registered entities do appear on our database. We also have your non-registered entities like your sole props, trusts, and partnerships available in our database. Okay, so what you'd need to do is search for that company. So I'm going to search for a company using a name. What the system will do is bring up all the entities we have in the database that have that word in their company name. So remember, this is the first step that you are going to follow. This is what you would do as a salesperson in order to initiate an application for a customer. So what the system is doing now is searching for that specific company in the database. Okay, so as you can see below, all the companies that we have in our database will populate. You are able to see the registration number, the business status, as well as the country that they are registered in. If you do a search with the registration number, the system will bring up only that particular company linked to that registration number. So when you do have a registration number, rather search with the registration number as you will get a correct match for that company. Okay, so these are all the companies we have in the database. If you do not find the company that you would like to onboard, you would need to click on Can't Find That Company, Add It Now, and the system will take you to the customer details page where you would need to add in the customer contact information. So even though we may not have a profile for that company existing, you are still able to initiate the application process. So I'm just going to go back. Are there any questions so far with regards to searching for a company? Okay, so once you've found the company in the database, you will then click on that particular company. The system will automatically put the company details under the customer details section. This is verified information and you won't be able to change this. You would need to provide the customer contact information. This is the person that needs to receive the digital application. You would click on continue and you would need to specify the payment terms that's going to be provided to that new customer. It's a drop-down list and you would then select the terms and you would need to indicate the credit limit. The gray pop-up that has appeared is an indication of how a credit limit is calculated. You will then need to select the department. So the department will indicate which type of application you are sending to the customer. So if it's an Ajax Tyres application, you would select Ajax Tyres, ITS, Ramotela Tyres, Thomas Tyres, TM, TTS Watini, or Vaal Tire. So you would then select that particular application. You do have the ability to skip sending the application. So this is what you would use if you already have a paper-based application. You would click on skip application, and you will then need to provide you can provide motivation to the approver, and you can upload the completed application by selecting credit application and attaching the completed application. Okay, so that's in an instance where you do have a completed app that you would like to upload on the system for it to go through to the approvers to approve the application. But in an event where this is a new customer and they have not completed an application, you would then need to keep it on send application. You do have the ability to add motivation to your approvers at your company as to why this company should be onboarded and granted that credit facility. However, you can also select no, and you won't need to add in motivation. Once this information has been added in, you will then click on Initiate. And what our system will do now is an automatic validation on the business where it would check for any adverse information. Okay, so that's all you need to do as a person initiating the application is search for the company, provide the customer details, the terms, the credit limit, select the type of application and click on Initiate. And the system will then process that application and send it off to the next step. Are there any questions with regards to how to go about initiating an application? Okay, so I said, okay, so there's no questions. Now that the application has been processed, what would happen is an email will then go out. I am in our paper cut. It's a catchment area for our test environment. An email will go out to the person who initiated the application, saying the application has been sent to credit risk management for further review. The person in the finance team, Marty, will receive an email stating Vaal Tyres Center Holdings credit application review requested. It will say the application has undergone risk checks, and once she clicks on view results, she will be able to see the automatic risk checks that have been done on the business. She is able to see the company details and the risk checks that our system has automatically done. She is able to see how long the company's been doing business for, if she declined them previously, if they're an existing customer, and their business status as per sub C. If any of these risk checks fail, there will be a cross next to those. So if they're in business rescue or liquidation, there will be a cross. And you can't actually do business with a company that's not trading. So Marty does have the ability to decline the application and nothing will go off to that customer for completion. Okay. But if she is happy with the outcome of the risk checks and would like to continue sending the application to the customer, she will then click on Submit Application, and the application will then go through to the customer for completion. Okay, so the application is now submitted. You, as the person who initiated the application, will then receive an email stating that the application has been sent to the customer. Here we go. Here's the email. So the initial risk check has been completed and the application has been sent to the customer for completion. The customer will then receive an email stating Vaal Tyres Center credit application, indicating they've recently applied to be a customer, and the customer will then click on complete application, which will then open up the digital application. Okay, so let's just recap. So the first part of the application process is where you as a salesperson will locate the company and initiate the application. The second point is where Marty will view the risk checks and submit the application to the customer for completion. The third step, which we are on now, is where the customer will open up the application and they will be able to complete the digital application. Okay. Any questions or clarity you require on the first two steps of initiating an application? No questions? Okay. Okay, so it's a one-page application form. It's compatible on any device, a cell phone, a tablet, or whichever a laptop they're using. The customer does have the ability to reassign at any point. So when they are completing this application and they don't have the necessary information, they can reassign the application to a person who can continue completing it. The bottom right, there is a help button, and if they need assistance with completing the application, they will click on Start Chat, and it will link them to our support help desk who will assist them with completing the application. The first part of the application is where the company, they would need to confirm their business. This is verified information that pulls through from SIPC. They will then need to give consent in order to proceed. And the consent details is in the platform, and it does tie into Papia as well. Customer will then see the credit limit that has been provided. The system will then ask them for some financial information. So it would either ask them for an estimated annual turnover, or 3 months bank statements, or a copy of their audited financial statements based on thresholds that have been loaded in the platform in the back end. The reason why this information is requested from the customers is in order for us to calculate an affordability assessment on that particular customer. Okay, so the customer will provide the details. The system will then open up some custom questions where they would need to provide their physical address. They would need to indicate if the business is registered for VAT. If they select yes, they would need to upload a copy of the VAT registration certificate. They would need to indicate the entity type applicable to their business. So if it's SIPC registered, a trust, a partnership, or a sole prop. Depending on the type they've selected, they will then need to upload certain documents. Okay, so for a trust, the trust deed, the letter of authority, copy of the company's letterhead, and upload copies of the trustee's ID documents. They would then need to provide trade references, so the business name, the next section is where they would need to provide their bank account details. And attach a bank confirmation document confirming the banking details not older than 3 months. Operational information, so they would need to indicate the business core operational information. Okay, the number of branches they operate from. The branches, so if they have branches in Johannesburg, Cape Town, they can add that in. The number of staff they employ. We then added the suretyship agreement, which the customer will need to download. They would need to physically complete this form and actually sign it. They also need to get witnesses to sign the suretyship agreement. Once the suretyship document has been signed, they will then need to upload the suretyship agreement onto the platform. Okay, once the suretyship agreement has been uploaded, the customer will then click on next, and it will take them to the terms and conditions, which they would need to read through, which is your company's terms and conditions into the platform. The customer will need to accept the terms and conditions in order to proceed with completing the application, and it will take them to the sign and submit section. Now, with regards to the application, is there anything you require clarity on what your customer needs to complete?
Yeah, I see, Andrea, you have your hand up. Go ahead. No sound coming out from your side, Andrea. Still nothing. I see you muted, unmuted. We can't hear anything.
Can you type in your question?
Yeah, Andrea, we aren't able to hear anything. I'm not sure if there's an issue with the microphone on your side, but please just type the question into the chat box. And everyone else, please may you just give a bit of a thumbs up if you can, to confirm that you can hear us properly as well. We don't want to obviously be doing the training without you having proper audio from your side. And yet, once you type the question in there, we'll address it immediately. Let's see if you can continue.
Okay, the next section is the sign and submit. So this agreement must be signed by an authorized person. If they are an active director, the active directors as per SIPC will show, and they would select their name and upload a copy of their ID. If they are not a director, they would select other, provide their name, a copy of their ID, and a board resolution that gives them authority to sign company documents. Okay, so I'm just going to select the director for this demo purpose. Okay, once the document has been attached to the platform, a one-time PIN will go through to the person who is signing the application. The one-time PIN will go through to their email address, and they would need to add that one-time PIN into the system in order to proceed with completing the application.
Okay, so the question from Andrea is, what if your customer does not want to sign surety? That was a question that came up in one of the previous sessions as well. So in that instance, we've actually got mandate from your finance team to say that the client is required to sign. That's one of the issues they had previously. It is a requirement. However, in order to basically bypass the system, it is a requirement at the moment. They need to upload something in that upload functionality. So what they would need to do is then upload a document stating that they do not want to provide this document due to whatever reason. Then we will then notify our team on this side to say, okay, this can bypass it, but we need to get permission from you and from the finance team as well before that happens. So yeah, the client will just need to, at the upload document portion of it, put a letter to state we will not be providing surety due to X, Y, Z. I hope that answers your question. Yes.
Okay, so once the one-time PIN has been added, the customer will click submit and it will bring us to the end of the customer completing the application. So as you can see, everything that is required, all the necessary documents will then be already uploaded on the application. It's not like finance has to do a back and forth with outstanding information. Now that it's completed, it will automatically generate a report at Inoxico where we would vet that business and run an analysis on that company, which we will then provide to the final approvers at Vaal Tyre. Okay. So once we have completed our application, it will then come through to the final approval stage where they will be able to see the outcome of our risk assessment. Okay, so while that's currently pulling through on the system, on the portal, that you have access to the Action Center where you would be able to keep track of your applications. If you click on the View button, it takes you into the application. And for you to find that application that you'd like to view, you would add in the name of the business, click on Apply, and the system will then bring it under that specific stage. Okay, so it's currently under the application verification. So that's just within Noxico where we are running our checks on that particular business. You are able to see all the applications that are still with the customer, all that have been approved, you would be able to see, and anything that is under the final approval stage is also available. So you can also track and see where all your applications are sitting. And if you click on the event timeline, you will be able to see who is the person under the final approval level that needs to actually approve that application. Okay. So if ever you need to follow up internally with your finance team, you can then see who that application is with and who is the approver on that application. Okay, so now that Inoxico has finalized the application, what would happen is they would be able to see the company information. So this is when it goes through to Marty in the creditors team under the final approval stage. They will be able to see the full application, which the customer has completed. It also has the links to all the documents that the customer has attached. So this is the full application that the customer has completed. We also provide them with the Inoxico report, and on the Inoxico report, it will then show all the information that we have done and the vetting that we have done on that particular business. We also provide them with an action, so whether they should approve, decline that particular application. So that's after we do our risk assessment, which Marty will be able to see. And then she has the ability to either approve or decline the application. If she declines the application, you will receive a notification advising you that the application has been declined. And if she approves, you will then receive a notification as well. She also has the ability to add in internal notes. So once she approves, it will bring us to the end of the digital application process, and you will then receive an email advising you that the application has been approved. Okay, so that's what you will receive once it's completed, just notifying you that the application is finalized and has been approved or declined by your finance team. Okay, so that's basically the application process by initiating an application on the Fabric portal. Are there any questions, anything you'd like us to go over again from your side?
All right. So a question we got in one of the previous sessions was, how long does this process take? If all goes well, so in an ideal world, the client has all of their documentation in order, your finance team is available and doing the checks immediately and approving. This whole process can be completed in under an hour You get all the information that you need, it gets approved, and you can then move on to the next company that you working on. So obviously, the main thing is we're trying to make your life easier with this process, and that's why it's been implemented. You get all the risk checks done. You get all the documentation stored in one place. You can always go back and revert back to the documents on that tab without needing to create a whole different folder for the client. It's really helpful. There's another question that's through from the site, Andrea. Does it notify the customer, or do we?
Okay, so currently the system does not notify the customer. That's something our team is currently still developing in the back end. So you would actually need to notify the customer if their account has been opened up from your side.
Yeah, so all communication will be internal. It's up to you at the moment to go back to the customer with the feedback that we give you. All right, are there any other questions? Anyone in the chat, please submit some questions for us if necessary. We'll tackle that for you. If not, then thank you for joining. What we will have is another session next week that we're setting up. So if you want to go through the process again with us, you're welcome to join us next week, Tuesday. I will be sending an invite through. So just pop me a mail if you wish to join or have anyone else in the company that you want to join that session. And I will be in touch going forward. You'll get your login details, as I said, probably by Monday latest. Then you can just test the system and play around with it as well and start using it on your existing customers. If you need anything, we do have our support team available, support@inoxico.com. They're always available, and there is a live chat function. If you're not getting any luck over there, you can come through directly to me and I'll direct your complaint through to the necessary party. I want to thank you for joining. I hope that the system works well for you and that you really buy into it. And we will be in touch in the coming weeks. Have an awesome Friday further, and I will see you soon. Thanks, Lena. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.